Villains are bad, but they can also be terribly entertaining.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Even when they do horrible things and we know they're irredeemable, we still love to hate them. And sometimes we just love them. But what happens when we do this in real life?
Yes!
Oh, I'd kill for a good coma right now.
Netflix just announced that the 5th and final season of You will be released in April, and fans are stoked for the return of Joe, the stalker and serial killer who worms his way into women's lives, kills their friends and family, and if his chosen love of the season steps out of line, he kills her too. And tons of fans love him for it. Even actor Penn Badgley can't understand why, neither can I. But I'm still a fan. So much so that his victims kinda annoyed me.
We listen and we don't judge.
Until I saw the final episode of season 4, and shit really hit the fan.
I got a second chance, and this time I'm utilizing all of me.
Give me your hand.
Nadia, tell them all about me. No one's gonna believe you, so you'll live. She refused to speak in her own defense. Still hasn't spoken from prison.
Yep, he's bad. Really, really bad. And I was wrong. I still think villains are great. I mean, I'm not a fan of real-life serial killers. I'm talking about movie villains.
I'm bad, and that's good. I will never be good, and that's not bad.
My first favorite was Scar from The Lion King. And sure, he killed Mufasa and I cried as well, but no baddie is more dramatic and flamboyant.
Oh, I shall practice my curtsy.
The best Disney villain, though, has to be the amazingly sarcastic Hades from Hercules.
Boom. Name is Hades, Lord of the Dead. Hi, how you doing?
Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
Can't believe you're getting so worked up about some guy.
He even made voice actor James Woods seem somewhat likable. I also think that the Joker is far more entertaining than the kinda constantly grumpy Bat.
Batman doesn't do ships.
What?
As in relationships.
Yeah, I know, he is the good guy. But compared to his nemesis, he's kinda just like Moriarty once said in Sherlock.
Every fairy tale needs a good old-fashioned villain. You need me, or you're nothing. Because we're just alike, you and I. Except you're boring.
And that's exactly it. Compared to villains, heroes are boring, predictable, some goody-goodies.
Fury, you son of a bitch. Oh, you kiss your mother with that mouth?
Villains not only get the best songs in Disney movies, but are often more complex. And they're often not purely evil. That's why villains increasingly take center stage in recent years, sometimes even becoming the main character. And while this can be interesting, and sometimes makes for a good movie, it doesn't always work out. Like when a villain who wanted to kill puppies is redeemed by changing everything about them. But seeing things from their perspective can change a lot. Like in You, we only see Joe's view, hear his thoughts. And we realize that some villains have kinda good reasons for their actions. I mean, in The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy crushed the Wicked Witch of the West's sister with her house and stole her shoes before her body was cold.
Be gone before somebody drops the house on you too.
Who wouldn't be mad about that? Magneto tried to protect his own kind in X-Men from abuse and genocide while dealing with his trauma from the Holocaust. Blade Runner's replicate Roy Batty just wanted to live. Dexter kills serial killers. Is that so bad? Zemo was pissed off because he lost his home and family in the Avengers battle with Ultron, who they themselves created.
He's out of line, but he's right.
And Jennifer from Jennifer's Body was sacrificed in a satanic ritual and came back as a demon. How exactly was that her fault? I mean, that's not an excuse for what they did, but it's an explanation. And by the way, women can make excellent baddies, like Mother Gothel kidnapped Rapunzel in Tangled, locked her away, and pretended to be her mother.
Great. Now I'm the bad guy.
In Get Out, Rose perfectly lured her boyfriend into a trap and casually switched her behavior from cute girlfriend to racist psycho. Amy from Gone Girl faked her death and framed her husband so convincingly it left male viewers stunned. And of course, there's Dolores Umbridge. Female villains might lack physical strength, but they can destroy heroes in other ways. And sometimes that's even scarier because it's more realistic than some supervillain.
Right.
Just like a stalker who convinces himself and us that he's actually not a bad guy and nothing is really his fault. Others made him do it, even though we know
This is a load of barnacles.
sure, he's a stalker, but he had a bad childhood. He's a murderer, but he wanted to protect his girl. He's a bad person, but he's cute. By the way, that alone is not enough to pull it off. I mean, Massimo from 365 Days is just as much a murderer stalker, but he's about as interesting as lukewarm water.
Are you lost, baby girl?
Joe is charismatic and clever, like President Underwood in House of Cards. And like Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars, Joe also pulls us to the dark side. That's what makes for a good villain. And even if one is purely evil, it can still be Oscar-worthy. But speaking of Nazis, they are also getting increasingly noticeable outside of Hollywood. And while there are no villains in real life, there certainly are bad people. And sometimes they're kind of entertaining too. So much so that we ignore even the biggest red flag imaginable.
Thank you.
My heart goes out to you.
For years, people praised Elon Musk, calling him a genius. Or even the savior of humanity, which he certainly has the money for, but he rather uses it for other things, like buying rockets or politicians. Still, many think he's not an out-of-touch billionaire. He's one of us. A nerd, a rebel, and self-made. Sure, he was born rich with parents who owned an emerald mine, and most of his companies weren't founded by him, but bought. But whatever, he's a fun, wacky guy who cares about the environment. I mean, yes, he downplays safety concerns and poor working conditions at Tesla, and he kicked out the Tesla founders and claimed he was the founder himself. But whatever. He gives his kids weird names. Isn't that quirky? Okay, some of his kids want nothing to do with him, but whatever. He's a champion of free speech, even though X is overrun with racists and incels. But whatever. He's taking humanity to Mars. Someday. He's amazing, and whoever thinks differently is just an ignorant hater. So instead of clearly calling out his multiple Nazi salutes as such, some people flood social media with pictures of Democrats who did exactly the same thing, which isn't true, but even if it were, their own base would have ripped their heads off. And also, it wouldn't make what Elon did any better. Some claim he couldn't have meant it like that.
It goes like this, yeah, but people were like, it must be this and then this. I've watched this video like 12 times. I also happen to like have followed Elon Musk for like over 10 years, used to work for one of his startups. Like, this is a ridiculous conversation. And so I just want to keep doing it. Like, I just want to keep doing it. Hey guys, I'm super excited. Hey, wait, let's do this. Let's do all of Elon Musk's gestures. Let's line them up and let's nitpick them until we have nothing left to talk about except it. Was he a Nazi? Was he a Nazi? Was he a Nazi?
Stop it. Get some help.
And others just beat around the bush. Like the ADL, an organization that literally works against discrimination and defamation of Jews. They tweeted, "This is a delicate moment and many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed and social media only adds to the anxiety." Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm. Awkward. Not a Nazi salute. But again, we appreciate that people are on edge. At this moment, all sides should give one another a bit of grace. Perhaps even the benefit of the doubt. And take a deep breath. And what is Elon's answer to this outcry? This tweet. I mean, of course he knew exactly what he did, because he knows exactly how he should have done what he claims he did. To be clear, I'm not calling Elon Musk a villain. He's not some evil movie character, which I'd imagine he'd actually think would be cool.
We are going to steal
I'm calling him a bad person who enjoyed more than enough grace and the benefit of the doubt, no matter what his fans believe. Sometimes it's hard to admit we were wrong, especially when we like someone who turns out to be not as likable as we thought, like I had to do with Joe. I'll probably still watch the 5th season of You, knowing that some things are inexcusable and unforgivable. Look, even Cruella de Vil occasionally made valid points that on their own I'd be totally on board with.
More good women have lost a marriage into war, famine, disease and disaster. You have talent, darling. Don't squander it.
But we need to be honest about certain things and call them by their name. People who want to hurt puppies are bad. People who kill others are murderers. And people who make the Nazi salute are Nazis.